Hey guys, it's Chris, and again, we're working on some home automation, and today we're going to be installing a three-way switch replacement for a standard dual switch three-way. What's involved is there's a couple changes you have to make, and I drew up a quick diagram. So there's nothing different between the switch that I did the video on, the single pole, except we're going to be adding on the second switch for the three-way. You do not need to buy two smart switches. It's actually called an add-on switch because you don't need all the components. And what I mean is this. In your traditional three-way switch, as you can see here, let me zoom in a little bit. I kind of drew this up. You can pause if you need to look at stuff. So you have your line in, and it could be reversed. I just drew it for flow. So you'll have your ground. Let me see the whole thing. Okay. You'll have your ground, your line in, which is your 120 volt current from your fuse box, and that will go out of the load to the secondary switch. And you'll have a red traveler wire that goes to the secondary switch, and then out of the secondary switch, the black load line will go to your light or accessory that is on a three-way. And there's a ground on both sides. And that's fine, because when you flick a switch down, this becomes nothing, and the red traveler wire becomes the 120 volts because this switch is in its opposite position, and flicking the switches the other way will depend on which 120 volt goes to the current. That turns the load on, either with this switch in the down position to pass the current or this switch in the up position to pass the current. So on a smart switch design, the three-way, it's a little different. You're going to have a white neutral on each box, and this is the power for the devices. And inside, like the other switch, you get a small jumper wire to tap into your neutral to plug in. Your red line will be used not for 120 volt. It's actually just data now. The black line will still be your line from your 120 volt fuse box. And then the load line, you're going to notice I don't have the load through here. Normally this load will go into this side of the switch, and it comes out the other side to your accessory. On a three-way smart switch, you don't need to have this load line. So what you do is you wire tie them together. The load that comes out of that second socket, you just basically pull out and wire tie it to the load that was coming into the original switch. Tie them together, and that's it. The white neutral will power this, and it's grounded. And how does it work? Well, this is just a dumb switch. This controls the light, okay? And what happens is, since this is connected through the red data wire, that's what I call it, the traveler, original traveler wire is the data wire now. This data wire, the red, will tell the master switch if I'm in the on or off position, regardless of the position of these switches, because they just stay in the middle. You know, they're in the middle. They never go up or down, so there's not a pole type of position. So if this one is on, this one knows, okay, the light is on. If you turn it on or off, it doesn't matter. You hit off, it'll say, hey, turn it off. And it turns the accessory off. So it's kind of a little bit better because you don't have two power lines running. The red is just a data signal saying, hey, I am on or off. We get white neutral for power. They're grounded, and that's it. So the red is used as a new data signal, not your opposite 120 volt. So if you want, you can pause this if you need to figure out how you're going to wire it up. And the same rules are going to apply. What we're going to do is we're going to turn the power off, and I'm going to remove both three-way switches from my kitchen here. So what you want to do first, just like before, is you want to get a multimeter, and this works best with the wires out on a three-way. So you're going to want to ground it and see which one is your line. The white is my line. But this is the load, but my traveler wire could still be hot. It's not. Turn your power off first. Unless you're like made of rubber, do not work on electrical stuff with the power on. Sometimes these are on separate circuits, so if you do have like a dining room and a kitchen light in similar circuits and you only turn off, let's say, the kitchen, this will still have power. Be careful of the screws on the side. You can shock yourself if you're not careful. So we're going to turn the power off to remove the wires on both sides, and then we're going to turn the power on, and what will happen is only one of these black sets of wires will have power. Line and load, just like a regular switch like this one. or well, this is a three-way too, but a regular switch with the 3 wires, line, load, ground. Only one side is going to have the 120 volts. That means that will be the master switch. The other side will be the add-on. So let me flip the power off. We'll pull this one out. We'll pull the other side out. And we'll so here we are again, and I have removed the switch and I have pulled my neutral out. As you can tell, this switch doesn't look too busy. What I mean by that is there's not really a lot of wires in here. Normally on a feeder switch, you're going to have a lot more, but it's possible this could be the line. We're going to check it. And I'm going to show you for comparison the other one. Here's my neutral. This was all tucked in behind the hallway switch. And this is the other wire. You have a traveler, you have either a line or a load, a ground, and either a line or a load. So I'm going to disconnect these wires so there's nothing on the line or load. We're going to see which one of these has the 120 volt AC from the fuse box in the basement, and we'll get it wired up. So let me turn the power back on, and I'll pull these wires off, and we'll do some testing. I've pulled the load and line out. I can tell you right now, that's probably going to be the line. I don't know why they bonded the red in there. So I'll have to check that. I don't know if it's... I have to figure that one out for a second. It should just be all... I don't know why the red's in there. That's kind of odd. But normally you'll have a line, a load, a traveler, and a ground. There's my common. On the other switch, now I know this is going to be 120 volts. We're going to test it, so let's do that. Multimeter, and it's on AC, and carefully I'm going to touch the ground copper. Can you see that? Alright. This line has nothing. This line, there you go, 120 volts. So this one, let's see if I can see that on the camera. I hope you can see that. So this line is my feed from the circuit breaker. Now this, which much brighter light since the lights are back on, this is the other side, and this will be my accessory switch. So this one is probably going to be totally dead on all ports. So I'm just going to ground it. We're going to put this here. Grounded. Dead. Dead. Okay, the red is dead. Good. I don't know why that red's in there. Maybe it's for this one. Yeah, it's for that one. Okay, so I know this is going to be my load. So this is going to be my light. So these get bonded together. Alright, so this is the add-on switch. I said accessory pack. The add-on switch that we're going to install on my kitchen wall because the hallway is apparently the feeder. Crap. Be careful of your 2 little screws. So you get 2 small screws for the smart switch, some instructions, the fat old smart switch itself, and the common jumper. You don't get a wire nut. I thought you did. My other one came with a wire nut. Is it not in here? No big deal. I have plenty of those. So mark yourself down for a wire nut. And once again, it's going to be wired up the same way. And you're going to have, what does that say? Traveler, which will be your red. See, there's nothing on here for load and line. And your neutral and a ground. Red, your white, oh, red, white, ground. That's it, and it's the standard. Doesn't matter what it's in, it just sends a signal to the other switch. So let's get this sucker added in. And once again, I'm going to use the clippers because I hate these ground. I like going in that little safety hole where you just tighten it up and it's good. I don't want to loop it around. So let me get my snips, we're going to do that. So I got myself some 2 wire nuts, different sizes. And my junk box. Power's off. And what I'm going to do is I am going to snip my ground, clean the terminal a little bit, straighten it out. It has some paint on it, looks like. Yeah, white paint. probably from when they spray bomb this house. When you get a new home, builder grade junk. So this is a standard normal install. You know what, it helps if you have a screwdriver. So here we're going to add our ground in. Just insert the wire and tighten the screw up, and it holds. Now for this one, you get the same scenario. You get the little jumper, longer side goes on the wire nut, and the shorter side will go into the neutral on the switch, and these two will be bonded together with a wire tie. So we can do that now. I'll just do a quick twist around. This is solid core copper. Gets over the wire. And if you want, you could write dining room load on this, which I will do. So I just labeled the kitchen load. Okay, so what we're going to do is use the neutral on the neutral line here, just like we did before, and we're going to add it. This is a little long for this application, so I'm just going to snip it. It looks like it comes pre-tinned, so we're going to use our wire nut and put it back on. That gives us our pigtail here for our neutral, and just making sure you're on neutral, not traveler. Traveler is still in, so we're going to put this one in and tighten it down and make sure it's snug. Now we can remove our traveler wire. These are just the quick release ones where you stick the screwdriver in and push down and the wire comes right out. Now the traveler wire is red. It will just go right into this, and then we'll tighten this up, and then the add-on switch is complete, and you can put this back in your wall. And so with that, I put the switch back in. It comes with the shortened screw. We know this is our common, this is our neutral. So I'm going to put my neutral on. Ooh, look at that, that's a shorty. So I'm going to cut a little bit off of my neutral line. Like I said, they're pre-tinned. And we're going to add ours into this pack here and match the twists the best we can to get ours in there. I'll get it in there first. Alright. Give it a tug, make sure it's secure. Now I can put that into my neutral. And you just insert it. Not that one. Insert your neutral and tighten it down. And it's locked in place. We know this is my line, so you find line, line goes in line, tighten it up, load, we know this is the load that we bonded together. Just drop some screws. Then we will have our red, which is the old traveler. That just pops out. And this is painted, but you can see the red up here. You rub it a little bit. It just had some paint on it. Now on here, this screw says no 120. So they don't want you hooking this up the standard way. And what that means is without bonding those two loads together. Because remember, on the accessory switch, it doesn't have a load and a load out. You bond the two together. So this would have been a flipped, like on a three-way, like I showed you in the original diagram. So you can remove that and you can put the traveler wire in the red. Making sure, give them a tug, make sure they're in. And now our ground, Meow was my cat. I'm not even bothering undoing it. I'm just gonna give it a snip, because I go in through the new safety screw and not the loop. And fish your wires around so they're comfortable for you. Give this sucker a good insert, make sure it's all the way in, and then tighten it up. Cat, you're crazy. With that, I'm going to return my switch to its upright position, and I'm going to leave this. What I'm going to do is we're going to turn the power back on now and test our stuff, and then we'll add it to our smart home. Okay, so I'm just going to click this, click it once, and they come on, click it off. It doesn't go off. Oh, there it goes. And now I'm going to check the add-on switch. Up. Lights came on, click it down. Lights go off. What's going on here so we can see what happens. So I'm going to go and I'm going to add a device. Bloop. This is lighting. This is a switch, right? Yeah, switch. This is a GE smart switch. And we're going to say, okay, this is a flat panel, but it still applies. We hit next. Okay, whatever. Your Wink hub. Connect now. Searching for hub. So we're waiting for it to search. Hub is ready. And now what we do is we press and release the rocker button. Okay, done. Name our light. We're going to call it Kitchen. Kitchen. Lights. Done. Done. Welcome to Lights and Power. More controls. Got it. Now, I just called it light. Oh, kitchen lights. Now I can touch them, and they go off. Touch them. They come on. This is the farthest Z-Wave I have. So it's kind of neat. And now I can add this to my Google Home by saying, hey Google, synchronize my devices.
Sure, syncing devices for Wink and Nest.
Okay, so it's syncing devices for Wink and Nest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close and I'm going to reopen my Google Home. And it should be listed as not in your home. So here's kitchen lights. I touch them. I say add to a room and create a new room, and it's called kitchen. Next. And we're done. So now I can say, hey Google, turn off the kitchen lights.
Okay, turning off the kitchen lights.
Hey Google, turn on the kitchen lights.
You got it, turning on the kitchen lights.
Thumbs up for me. I'm going to put this back in the wall, put your wall plate back on using the new included shorter screws, and you're all done. That's how you wire up a three-way. Hope it helps. Have a great day.